The suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Weedies! I got weed pots!
3, 2, 1. Wayne's World, anyone? Okay. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Stone d'Appetit. With your host, as always, it's me, Kip Wilson. CB is not here today, but don't worry, we have a killer episode. We're coming to you today from Veritas. I'm going to call it luxury cannabis. They may call it fine cannabis, but I'm sitting down here with Mike Leibowitz and John Spatafora, gentlemen who work kind of, I'll call it front of house since we're restaurant guys, but y'all are nice enough to join me today, and I want to say thank y'all so much for...
Glad to be here.
Our pleasure. No, you know it won't be. But before we get this party started, I do want to do a quick ad read. This episode is brought to you by Live Nation's Home Concerts. Check out the library of concerts available to stream from your couch. Go to www.livenation.com and pick the band that gets you high. That's right. Live Nation has streamable concerts available to watch from your couch as long as this moratorium without live music continues. So go to www.livenation.com or check them out on social media at LiveNationCO. All right. Enough of the business stuff. That's what we get paid for. Let's talk some nitty gritty. Who wants to go first in this hot seat?
What's the question?
All right. So we're going to introduce Mike Leibowitz first. Mike, tell us, are you a transplant or a native to Colorado?
Transplant.
All right. And where are you from?
I grew up in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, what brought you out west?
Marijuana.
Oh, shit.
College. I told my parents it was college. It was mostly powder skiing and good cannabis.
Yeah.
So I knew it was
the Thursday night skiing, it sounds like.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
CU buff? Or
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not too bad. And so you look my age, a little weathered. So you've been out here since the 2000s.
Weathered. Thanks. Dude.
I was trying to be nice.
He's actually 23.
Yeah, there you go.
Just moved out here. Just graduated college.
Yeah, there you go. Paint the picture however you want. They can't see us until
That's true. The podcasts are great, huh?
We have a face for radio, so it really works out well for me. That other voice you heard was John Spatafora?
Spatafora.
All right. I didn't mess that up too terribly bad. John, you have the same question. Are you a transplant or a native?
Born and raised in Montrose, Colorado.
Oh, shit. All right. So when we get natives, we have to ask them a question. What hospital did you get, or were you born in?
Montrose Memorial. There's only one.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
It makes it easier if you're over there.
Yeah. Usually when it's like someone from Denver, they'll say what neighborhood, and then we can talk about it.
It could have been your bathtub.
Could have been the bathtub. Most people in Montrose are born in the bathtub, but I was lucky I was born in the hospital.
Yeah, that is true. It's a little bit, it's a free spirit.
The leg up, yeah, it was nice.
So have you decided to stay here, or did you get out there and...
No, I went to University of Colorado, and then I took a little tour. I was in hospitality for a long time, ran nightclubs and bars.
Nice. Okay, so favorite city to run a bar in?
Favorite city to run a bar in? It's not Vegas. It's not...
Miami?
Not Miami. My favorite place I've
Richmond,
ever run a bar.
Virginia.
No, actually, Lake Tahoe, California, and Vail. Both those two were in the ski town mentality was the best.
Yeah, I can get behind that. So wait, is Tahoe at the side with the casinos or the other side?
I was on the side with the casinos. We were in State Line, Nevada.
Hell yeah. That's a big time. We've had a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, it's a good place.
All right. I like it. Well, gentlemen, so y'all work for one of the more premier cannabis companies here in Colorado. We're here to kind of pick y'all's brain and learn a little bit about it. We did a poll on our social media, and we asked for the best flower recommendations in Colorado. And y'all, hand over fist, came in droves. So first off, I think the city of Denver wants to thank y'all for producing great doja, but we kind of want to know the secrets behind the tour that I just did. So I think we need to learn a little bit about Veritas, but before we do, I want to know the history in marijuana. Obviously, as a bar manager, you probably go way back with the weed, and then it was college for you, or when did we start getting high? 14?
Are my parents listening? I mean, time for
I don't
them
know.
to learn the truth, right?
We don't promote on Facebook, so the good chance the old people don't see it.
For me, I started smoking weed when I was in 8th grade, I think. But, you didn't really know it wasn't much then. I think my first hit of weed was like a bong hit of oregano. My friends were playing a joke on me. That sucked. But then I smoked real weed out of tinfoil, and that also wasn't that great of an experience. But I liked it nonetheless, and I kept trying it. And I had a job I worked throughout high school, and I always would like take my money from real jobs and buy weed with it because I liked smoking weed. So I didn't come out to college and suddenly was like, oh, here's weed. I already knew I really liked it. So it was easy transition, where the Northeast where I grew up, there wasn't a lot to do other than go see music and smoke weed. So I did both of those frequently. And then I knew Colorado was a similar scene. So when I came out here, I immediately dived into that culture.
Dude, we're cut from the same rug. There was jack shit going on in Mississippi, and so we were the same thing. And we were getting arrested left and right for the drug scene. So it's like every time you had like a gram of weed, you were always in trouble. So I guess I have to ask, what was the Doja scene like in Connecticut? Was it seeds and stems? Were you buying it from like guys in the alley behind the liquor store like we were?
Right.
Is it shitty?
No, it wasn't at all, actually. I mean, Amherst, Massachusetts was a good outlet for us. That was pretty close to Hartford. Amherst, yep, where a lot of UMass kids were, and then we even had friends in Burlington already, which had a very vibrant scene. Burlington, Vermont, very similar to Boulder, Colorado, and that's probably one reason why I chose to move to Boulder, knowing that it was pretty
Are you a
similar
fish
to
guy?
Burlington. I'm a huge fish fan.
Okay, great. Because all right, we'll get through that. It's Fish Dicks weekend. So.
I know, it's very sad that it's not happening this year.
God damn it. Yeah. I hate this.
Attendance is a lot better at the Grow, though, this week.
Attendance is a lot better at the Grow. Yeah, people are normally fighting.
Without
That's
fish in
such a
town.
good point. People are normally fighting for this weekend off, and nobody cares. Everybody's working. It's very mellow. I mean, by Thursday, these lots are empty, and everyone's already like on to the Thursday night
to
show.
The other lot.
There will be weed
tonight
next week.
Is normally the Joe Russo Red Rocks, right? So that was supposed to be tonight, I think. So. Yeah, it's like 5 days of awesome music, and now it's
nothing.
Now we wear masks and we work. So it's a productive year for work. So, maybe we all needed, let's look at it in a positive light. Maybe we all needed a little rest. Our livers, our brains needed a weekend off. We don't want to admit it. And
I think the wallet has been very, nice. And because of my busted leg, there's been no FOMO. Like I didn't miss a concert at Red Rocks.
You get right in. I've been with people like you at shows. You don't have to wait in the lines.
That is
you're
true.
You're the guy you want to hang out with going into a show. You walk right in.
That is a good point. But at the same time, I have actually been stricken, like just laying on the couch for a couple of weeks. So I was worried like I'd miss camping trips or something like that. And now that all these concerts aren't going on, I'm like, I guess if you're going to break your leg, at least you're doing it when
good time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So when you can't go hang out with 9,000 of your friends or whatever. I don't even know how big Dick's will hold. Dick's probably goes bigger than that. That's more Red Rock size. I don't know how big Dick's is.
16 maybe?
Jesus, really?
Maybe it's even bigger.
And they're like $200 tickets, so you save a couple bucks.
We do. Yeah, it's definitely. We are all saving money, not wasting it on concerts all summer. Spending it on concerts.
There we go. Okay, so we have coming out. Yeah, of the now I feel like this is going to be a wasted conversation to ask John, but how was the Doja and when did you start smoking here in Colorado?
So I smoked a little bit in high school, but I really kind of discovered good weed in college. And it was the guys that lived across the hall from me in the dorms were constantly stoned, and it was great weed. And I was not living at home, and I was constantly stoned, and it was, and so yeah, I really enjoyed it then. Then it kind of actually died off for me a bit as I got into hospitality and traveled around. I had kids really young and didn't have a ton of weed around me where I was, and then I moved back, and it's been like falling into like Neverland. It's been amazing. So this is a great place to work if you're rediscovering your love of weed.
You really get an education in Boulder about weed, whether you want it or not.
Right.
I mean, you're walking by it, you're smelling it. I mean, I remember the 420 at Fair and Fields. That was just. It was legal that day. It was legal before it was legal.
I remember
that
when you
was
had
in
the
1998, 1999. That was a long time
I don't
ago.
remember that. I was thinking of the 420 fests of like the earlier years that I was here. 1998, you really dated yourself there.
Yeah, guilty. Yeah.
You probably know like fucking McConkey and those boys.
Not that old.
I'm sorry. Shout out to Sherry. All right. So before we go too deep further, any funny stories of getting caught smoking growing up? Like I used to have, my dad would find weed in my car and throw it away, and I'd have to go get it out of the garbage and all that. Any good stories growing up, or is this just a story that fell on deaf ears? Our question.
I don't have a great growing up story, but my son just went to college just took him to college 2 weeks ago.
Holy crap. Congrats.
38 hours into the experience, he gets pulled over, and they had weed in the car, and I had actually got to go to court in Laramie, Wyoming yesterday for a minors in possession ticket.
Oh, nice.
So, that was kind of exciting.
That's also kind of like a coming of age thing, as well as getting that first MIP.
Annoyed, but slightly proud.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully he's not listening. He is our target demo.
He is.
All right, so that actually is a good one. Thank you for saving that question.
There you go.
You looked at me like, no, we didn't get in trouble for anything.
No, I mean, I would just tell my parents my allergies were bothering me all the time. I thought I had horrible allergies, but I mean, I did kind of have allergies
fucking
too.
pollen.
The pollen in Colorado.
The pollen in Connecticut was real. It was real.
I love it. All right, so we got to know a little bit about y'all. Let's talk a little bit about Veritas. We did a righteous tour here. We're sitting at the Grow down here in the Green Mile. Everyone knows it, kind of like the North Glen area, right behind the big Burbs and the whatever that is, Bass Pro Shop. I love that, driving by that thing. Let's talk a little bit about it. When did we open this operation up?
Veritas started right before recreational cannabis started. So right around 2013, we formed this company. And it was right when the rule change was happening from vertical integration, where if you had a store, when it was only medical and you had a store, you had to grow your own product. And then when recreational happened, they simultaneously created a rule that said you can be a wholesaler. And so my niche in love was cultivation. I had some bad business marriages in the retail world, and realized that I wanted to focus on this aspect of the business. And so we were able to we created this company. We had some investment behind it, and we went out and we purchased a recreational OPC, off-premise cultivation license, and we were a standalone cultivator. And it was we believe we were the first to be licensed in Denver, and possibly even in the state of Colorado, to have that license where we weren't required to be affiliated with the store. And yeah, we started our from that day. Obviously, it took us some time to build out and have our first harvest, but we were wholesalers from the beginning.
So how did, I guess I should rewind it just a second. I jumped really quickly into the pool. Were you growing professionally before you decided to do
I've been
Veritas?
in the industry for...
since college?
Since sort of. I don't
Legally
know. Who are you again? No. It was... the industry started in 2009 is really when I kind of dropped what I was doing. I remember we all went, Obama was elected, and then we
Shout out Barry. Yeah,
do we miss him?
He's a big listener. He's a podcast listener.
You call in frequently?
We don't do the call in anymore, John. I appreciate you rubbing it in there. Thanks. We've had a cutback because of COVID.
Gotcha.
Dick.
Sorry about that.
He texted in his
He was in office for 4 or 5 months, and he stated that he was going to leave states alone that had their own rules, and that there had been a law in the books in Colorado since 2001, 2002, where some creative lawyers snuck in some language that said, if you are unable to grow your own cannabis for medical need, then you can assign someone to grow your cannabis for you. And that's all it said. It was like something like that.
Very vague.
Very vague. 2 or 3 sentences. And people stared at it for 7 years. And when Bush was president and he was raiding dispensaries in California, no one wanted to start that in Colorado. It was very limited. I actually went to a dispensary in Denver in probably 2007, but it was the strangest thing. It was very small. It's actually in Cherry Creek, and it reeked of weed. And this guy, he somehow figured out to have the first license of it. But I mean, other than him, and it was an anomaly, no one did it. But when Obama said that he was going to leave states alone, and beginning of 2009 happened after he was fully inaugurated, we found an attorney. I think Warren Edson was the first guy that I talked to, and I think other people also talked to Warren Edson. He was one of the original, we'll call him the OG lawyer, right?
Imagine being the green lawyer. That guy
really
probably has like 7 Teslas right now.
Well, I think
living off 7.
They've all grown tremendously from it too. I don't know what Warren's up to. I hope he is. I mean, he deserves it. And then, Brian Vincente, obviously, and Christian Cederberg, who they have a huge firm now too, were some of the pioneer legal guys who people went to, and they could kind of draw you an ambiguous map that if you wanted to follow it, you could. And it said, here's what you can do. Here's a piece of paper that I just printed out in 5 minutes. You can go get your buddies. They all have to go to a doctor. And, once they have that, the doctor signs this, their paperwork making them medical marijuana patients, they can assign their plants over to you. And furthermore, there's no limit. So if you have however many friends you have that you want to grow for you, they can assign it and assign it. So, it didn't take, Warren Buffett to figure out that you could make an industry of this, that this could be something that you could commercialize. And then, honestly, everyone started doing it. I mean, the doctors, the real people started making money. The first green rush was for the doctors. I mean, you were trying to book these doctors a month